Hello, I'm back with another video. This time it's about the wonderful Seaweed Brains. She's an author on fanfiction.net and AO3 who's got 16 stories. For, uh, 15 are for Percy Jackson and the Olympians. One of them is for the TV show Miraculous. I've never actually seen that show, so consequently I haven't read the fic, so I can't say I can have much of an opinion on it. But two of her stories I wanted to talk about in particular. One of them is We Could Walk Straight Through Hell with a Smile with 305,016 words across 3 chapters. And that's the fanfiction.net stats, which that doesn't really have like a story word limit, so she's able to post much longer chapters than on AO3. Which I think that has 5 chapters. She has to break each chapter up into different parts just because they're so freaking long. And the other story that I really like of hers is Because You've Been Sitting in This City. It's 49,000 words, just a touch over. It's also a soulmate AU, a one shot actually. So it's a not quite a quick read, but it's still not something that you would have to sit down and read across a few days, which is what We Could Walk Straight Through Hell would be like. Sitting in the City is also one of my all-time favorite stories, just because it's a very, very well done and well structured soulmate AU. Seaweed Brains in general just kind of has like that really good, I guess, niche where all of her stories are like, I don't want to say the same because they're all like soulmate AUs, but like they're all really well done. Um, like they're like the plot is good and the characterization of each character is good. It's believable, like if it's like you're reading it and you're like, yes, this makes sense for a world that would potentially exist. And that's, I guess, kind of like the ultimate, like, I guess, goal for fanfic authors is for a fanfiction to be believable. um it's just kind of a really good place, I guess, for her to be because she has quite a few fans, I guess you could say. A lot of her stories, the favorites on fanfiction.net, reach well through the hundreds. We Could Walk Straight Through Hell actually has 184 favorites and 187 follows. So they're all there's all those people read the story and they think, wow, this is a really good story, me included. And like it's warranted. Like We Could Walk Straight Through Hell. It um it switches POVs, and normally on fanfictions you see POV switches, but a lot of times they're kind of done suddenly, like midway through the chapter. You'll just see like the name of the character whose POV it is, like Percy's POV or like Annabeth's POV, just like in there. But Seaweed Brains does it in a way that feels smooth and it feels natural. Um, and it really makes it like kind of stand out, I guess, which that's good because that means people like talk about it, like on like Tumblr. People would be like, oh, there's a new fanfic author I found, her name's Seaweed Brains, and she does really well written stories. And someone's like, huh, maybe I'll read that. So then they go and you're like, yeah, that is really well written. That makes me sound like I'm mocking her. I'm not. I promise I'm not. Seaweed Brains, if you end up seeing this, I promise I'm not mocking you. But a lot of her stories are also very like poetic. Like the titles kind of have like that stereotypical, poignant, poetic, lowercase, like Wreck My Plan, That's My Man, her most recent story. We Could Walk Straight Through Hell again. You've Been Sitting in the City. Veni Vidi Vici is the Miraculous. And then like she has a two like companion fics. They're all in one like POV of a character, but the first one is If I Were to Pluck on Your Heartstrings in the POV of Annabeth, and then Would You Strum on Mine is the exact same story, but from Percy's POV. And reading them together, I guess you can't really read simultaneously just because you'd have to be switching between tabs and stuff. But reading them together, it's very interesting, and I kind of wish more people would almost do that kind of like dual companion thing, because seaweedbraens kind of the first one that I've seen of it. I would also like to mention that she also has two Roman Percy AUs. A lot of times, like I mentioned in my last video about Combat Tombat and Imperator, Roman Percy stories are usually kind of more romantic, where Percy's Roman, Annabeth is Greek, they meet, yada yada. Um, the first one she wrote is Here Comes the Sun, and that was an inspiration story that I wrote for one of my stories. Um, it's also a soulmate AU, so I don't think I've ever seen a soulmate AU that's also set in the Percy Jackson like demigod universe. That's also a camp swap, and it's a really interesting premise too. And then the other Roman AU is Wreck My Plan, That's My Man, that I mentioned before, where it's like a friends with benefits thing, where they're enemies to friends to lovers, as she says in her very own summary, which that's also a very interesting premise, because that's also where like they have like this weird like hero rankings thing where the mortals know that there's like demigods, but like they don't. And yeah, you should just read it. I'll link her profiles, both of them, fanfiction.net and AO3, in the description. But Seaweed Brains has this very like I'm like struggling to find the words for it. Like it's like she knows exactly how to write. She knows what she's writing. She knows how to write. And I guess that's a given considering she's been on fanfiction.net at least for 11 years. So she's like had time to develop her thing. But she has a very distinct style that goes very well, I guess, with what Percy Jackson fanfiction can be. And all of her stuff is like almost exclusively one shots. It's all very long one shots. Her shortest story is 5,000 words, which that's no small like feat. A lot of chapters are around 1,000 or more words, but like I said, her longest one is We Could Walk Straight Through Hell with 305,000 words in 3 chapters, which that's roughly 100,000 words per chapter, which that in and of itself is a full length story as a chapter. So I don't know how she does it. I don't think she does either. She's said multiple times. She's like, I don't even know how this came out. And this is all from like author's notes. But she's said multiple times in author's notes and on Tumblr, I don't know how this happened. And I can't, again, I'm not trying to speak for her or anything. So, again, Seaweed Brains, you know I love you. You know you're one of my favorites. But yeah, that's kind of like my, I guess, short review of Seaweed Brains. I might do a review for We Could Walk Straight Through Hell and You've Been Sitting in the City. But yeah, uh, like, comment, I guess. I felt weird saying that. I'm probably not ever going to say that again. But yeah, um, this might be the structure for more videos, more like free form, not as structured, because Imperator, you could tell, is very stilted and gross. So, yeah, bye.